Well,
As a committee, I think we would take a minute to introduce yourself to each of the commissioners and the guarantee. Mark Stanton.
Ravensworth.
Andrew Morgan.
Hi, Tess Roberts.
Hi, been a long time.
Catherine Miller, nice to meet you.
How's it going?
How's good, John? How are you?
Well, make yourself comfortable. We're going to start you off. I can do everyone by asking you why you want to be a county court judge.
Okay. Well, the reason I originally applied back in 2011 is I was talking to Judge Parsons. I did a lot of appellate work with him coming out of the DMV. And he had asked me to put my name in for county court judge and suggested that since I was a big due process person and liked to write and draft things, that he thought I would be good. As from my own personal viewpoint, I just can't think of a higher calling than being a judge. I love the Constitution, I love to read law, I love to watch trials, I just enjoy all that. And I just can't think of anything that would be a better position than being a judge, so that's why I want to do it. And in preparing to come chat with you, I looked up a little bit about the judicial canons and the preamble about what the judiciary does and how important and indispensable it is to justice to have a fair judge. And the words due process, equity, justice are the words that I just care the most about and have cared about them the most for 37 years. So that's why I'd like to do it, but then of course I'd like to have the opportunity, and there's I think 2 steps to that as I remember.
Talk to us about your involvement in the community, what you do specifically, pro bono.
Well, pro bono is real easy. When I get started on something, I like to finish it. And so a lot of times I'll take cases that don't seem particularly interesting, like the Futch case. And we took that one to the Florida Supreme Court because the DMV hearing officers wouldn't let us present evidence and wouldn't let our witnesses talk. Another pro bono case we took that drifted to the Florida Supreme Court case was really something that came from going to a seminar, which is the Pelham case. And that kind of dovetails into your other question. Jesse Colston Pelham was one of my soccer boys. I was the president of the Port Orange Soccer Club. Eventually, I started doing that when my son Ethan was 4 or 5. And we became involved in the Port Orange Club because my son liked it. We met a lot of people, and we coached 2 or 3 teams a year, and then we got into traveling soccer. And I did that for years, and I would coach the baseball teams and multiple soccer teams and get involved in that. But Ethan's 27 now, so my time's opened up. Last year I went ahead and coached some 7-year-olds for fun for Demore Delgado, and I've always liked doing that. And so I enjoy getting out and doing those kind of things. The Pelham case was interesting because somebody knew before it happened that the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicle was going to start saying that they could suspend your driver's license even if you weren't legally stopped or legally arrested. And I thought certainly that would never happen. Nobody would do that. And so what happened is we went to a hearing, and the hearing officer basically said, well, that's all very interesting. I think you're probably correct, but it just doesn't matter. So we took that up through the circuit court next door, Judge Rowe, before Judge Parsons went in there. And then that went to the 5th, and then they both ruled for us and said that you had to have basically a fair hearing before the hanging, which is the essential component of due process. And then the Supreme Court didn't take that one, but they took Hernandez, which was the conflict case, and my friend Susan Cohen in Jacksonville did that one. So basically, I love to do interesting issues of law. I mean, that would be my hobby if it wasn't my job. Mr. Delgado and I recently took a case that we ended up losing, or getting reversed and coming back down out of the Florida Supreme Court on blood testing and breath testing, the Williams case. And then again, we took the case, I briefed it in the 5th. The 5th agreed with our arguments, but not our conclusion. And then in the meantime, the U.S. Supreme Court said that they were going to apply a different law to blood testing and breath testing, which is the way Judge Orfinger saw it, whose son also happened to be on the soccer team. But so it came down, and so that one went all the way up from county court to the 5th, to the Supreme Court, back down to the 5th, which gave us a good footnote about search warrants. But anyhow, they decided that the argument we were making wouldn't hold water for Mr. Williams. And Mr. Delgado and I did that one together. I did most of the work in the 50CA. That's pretty much what I like to do. I like to finish what I start. If I see an issue, I'd like to get the issue addressed and resolved, however it comes out.
I would imagine that some of the county court civil issues are a little bit like Groundhog Day. You're seeing the same type of eviction over and over again. You're seeing the same traffic issues over and over again. You, as a person that likes to find these nuanced issues of law and dig deep in them, I mean, do you think you're well suited for hearing the same type of issue over and over and over again?
Oh, I do, because I'm used to dealing with people, and every case that comes in your office is a little different, and that's what you have to look at. Each eviction is, the pleadings are the same, the forms are the same, but what happened, or what happened to the person, or the situation, or whether they can put the money in the registry of the court, is always going to be different. And that's where I think that, I don't know if I was as patient when I was younger, but now I would have the patience to listen and try and do justice, whenever we can. But then, of course, sometimes the rules make us do things we don't like, but they're still the rules. I've spent a lot of time in traffic court, and I have to say most days are pretty entertaining. It's changed since I started. We used to really have a lot of traffic hearings, and then there's been a recent trend, and I guess, where people get a lot of clients and they plead them sort of no contest for a withhold and declare the victor. But I've always found traffic court interesting, and I know I was sitting there not too long ago, and I was watching Judge Fields talk to a defendant, and the defendant obviously couldn't understand what he needed to say because the judge wanted to dismiss the case. And I asked the judge if I could approach the defendant and explain it to him. And so then he answered the question correctly, and he got to leave. But no, I find traffic court fascinating. Myself and my friends wrote a lot of motions and things in traffic court because it's important to regular citizens. We became interested in traffic court and have traffic court written rulings like the Matt Allen case, saying that you can get the documents for the speed so you can review them before the hearing if you make a written request. Because all my friends, mostly my lawyer friends, they get tickets and they get upset. and they want to be heard and they want to raise their issue. And what you don't want, and I saw this when I went to Tampa to represent my son on a traffic ticket. Not the smartest thing, but he's my baby. You don't want it to be an assembly meal, right? A lot of people are going to be happy with the withhold and withholding court costs, but a lot of people also want to come to court just to be heard.
With county court, obviously you have a huge volume of cases. Looking at your application, I haven't worked with you, known you. You were very thorough. Do you think you'd have any trouble handling the volume that's necessary in county court?
No, it's especially from being around Mr. Delgado. I think most cases, after you've been a lawyer for a certain amount of years, you can kind of see where it's headed within a very small range pretty quick. And I have to say that not every case has an interesting twist anymore. Most of them, I've seen, or y'all have seen. They have different facts, and you have to look at them to get to the right spot. But I've tried to learn to be quicker.
We have another opening that we have announced for county court. If you put in for that, I frankly would like you to listen to some female lawyers or judges as references. I notice all your references are male, and that can just be opposing counsel who you've worked with. But I heard very nice things about you from female opposing counsel and judges, I'd like you to consider adding some to your reference
Yeah.
list.
I appreciate that. When I put this list together, since I left the Delgado firm, I've been getting my old office up to speed, and it's been way harder than I thought. You know, getting the computers to work, the phones to work, and so I kind of just relied on people I knew real well. And I know, like, Dennis Craig is a male, but I wanted to use him as a reference as I did last time, and I just couldn't track him down in time. So. But I appreciate the suggestion.
Anything else? Eric, thanks for coming in this afternoon. We will be making our decision this afternoon and letting everyone know by the end of the day.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great day, and I just can't imagine how you can listen to this over and over again.